Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. New season, same Scrappy running his mouth last night on multiple occasions. Firstly against the Seattle Surge after an interesting team wins the 20k Boston Reach Search and Destroy Invitational Tournament. That's not quite the Seattle Surge starting roster, but not too dissimilar. Scrap reckons that team's better than their actual roster, and then roasting Scump for apparently sending him into retirement. Lots to get into today. Very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, looks like the Hex Quarters is pretty much done. I kind of forget when the lease is meant to have run out, but it's basically now. I don't know if Dashy was still there over the last couple of days, but you guys can see that, yeah, basically the lease is over and the Hex Quarters is coming to a close. Makes sense, they've got that big facility in the heart of downtown Dallas. Dashy's moved down there near like where Method is and stuff like that, so it all kind of makes sense. But yeah, definitely a place with lots of memories over the last few years for those OpTic guys. COD is officially back, by the way, because there was a LAN event in Columbus, and and for the rotation here says there was a fight that broke out at this LAN event in Columbus. Apparently someone was left with a bloody nose, and he says that a video of this does exist and it will be doing the rounds. And therefore, by the time I woke up this morning, we had this, if it wants to play. Let me hit the refresh. This, I guess, is the best version we find, so I guess I'll go at full screen. So yeah, apparently it's all popping off, and we've seen the footage of this before in other events. It's pretty funny stuff. I guess we'll just let it replay one more time for the culture here. So there's been classic moments at COD events in past, maybe another example. Shame there's not another video. Maybe there are other videos going around, but that's the passion pit, baby. You know how it is. Couple of quick scrims. I believe these went maybe even the day before yesterday, but Carolina have still been streaming stuff. They played Miami the other day, which I'm pretty sure was like the first ever scrim that was played on this game as well, was between like Miami and Carolina. They played on basically like day one, 3 hours in, and yeah, generally Carolina getting the better of them. As I said yesterday, when Real gets out there to the States, I guess they're going to be in an even better spot. Kind of high on this Ravens team. I think they can be good this season. I definitely think GodRx has been slaying heavily, as you'd expect. It's like, I just don't really know why it's taken this long for GodRx to get a spot back in the league, to be honest. But there it is. Subbase again. We are seeing some more subbases actually go to 250. It's still kind of rare that it happens. But and to be honest, like the way that subbase is, it might not be the greatest hardpoint map, but I still kind of think that it's better than some of the ones that we have right now. We talked about Meat yesterday. We're not going to go into that again. But, you know, even maps like Mikado or something, if they were to bring that in, it could definitely be viable. They also went on to play some controls. These seem to be the control maps, like Karachi Invasion for sure are being played. They even played high-rise control, which is, yeah, I don't know exactly what they thought of this, whether they thought it was terrible. It might well have been terrible, but maybe it's worth a go, because you kind of need 3 maps in the rotation. You guys probably remember the start of Vanguard, and we were playing, was it just Gavutu and Tuscan, wasn't it, right? Before they then brought in Berlin for a little while. I don't know. It was a bit of a, I think pretty sure that was correct, yeah, because there was Gavutu, which was just the AR map, and there was Tuscan, which was the sub map. So whoever got to choose the vetoes would just choose which one favored them, and it was always kind of stupid. So ideally, we need 3 control maps. You would think with 16 maps in the game, there's got to be 3 maps viable for control. Some of them, though, like Subbase, the spawns are literally broken, i.e. on Subbase, you get to B as offense before the defense gets to B. So maybe it's A. I don't know. The point still applies. One of the control points is in like P2 on Subbase, I think, and it's an absolute mess. I saw some people even suggesting, what about Underpass as a potential viable map? So look, we'll see. I know pros have even said, could Afghan work for hardpoints? So I think there's a bit more testing maybe to be done on this, and we can see them testing high-rise control, which may or may not work out. Let's talk though about this Boston Reach tournament yesterday, because this was a pretty stacked one, right? Lots of pro teams in this. 20k Search and Destroy tournament. We saw this being talked about before the game even launched. Few good clips from it, but the team that actually won was not necessarily the one that I would have expected. We looked at the groups for this the other day. You know, you've got that OpTic green team with Pred, Shotzzy, Scump, and Major Maniac. You've got basically, well, at least very big part of the New York Subliners roster. Obviously, FaZe, you know, Simp, Karma, Drazah, Decimate. That's a nice team. And one team you've got to look at, though, is Surge's team. For these kind of SnD tournaments, these are, you know, these kind of grinder SnD star teams are always going to be pretty damn good. And that's basically what's happened here. We got this match that was played between Cell, Tupac, Spartan, and aBeZy. best of 5 goes all the way to, well, this is on the high rise, and yeah, Hook makes a nice couple of plays. I guess we can kind of go full screen on this one with the rival. Definitely in these type of scenarios, the rival is really viable, and yeah, Spark was not going to read that from Hook. He does eventually get traded, but Hook's team with Illy and Co does go on to close out this series. So yeah, impressive stuff from effectively Surge in a way. Sure, it's not their full roster, but, well, someone has an opinion on maybe the fact that it could be their full roster or even should be their full roster. Nice play here from aBeZy as well that was seen from Zuma's point of view on the terminal. The bomb's down. He lets this guy run past and then gets the 2-piece, which is always nice to see IQ kind of plays like this. This is some of the reason why you've just got to love Dead Silence being in the game, you know. With no Dead Silence, he can't get away with this. But, yeah, it works out. Great play. That was against Hook and Illy's team as well, but they did go on to win here the grand finals, and yeah, so they take down the victory. Congrats to those guys. Again, Illy, this guy must have won more prize money from this offseason than they're probably going to win all season long. Like, he's been winning a lot of stuff, and this is, well, obviously a half of the Seattle Surge starting team. They have aBeZy and they have aBeZy in addition to this, but for Search and Destroy, this is always going to be a pretty good outfit, right? Blast known as, you know, great online player, great search and destroy player. Prolid, of course, is known in that category as well. And here they are getting the victory. Now, Scrappy has his perception on this particular team, and we've got to share a few clips here from Scrap because this guy just can't help himself, can he? And it's fantastic stuff. It's always funny in sports when there was a perception maybe 18 months ago that, oh, well, you know, Scump's about to retire, Crim's about to retire, like Clay maybe hasn't got too much left, Karma's retired. All the big personalities, the OGs, the guys that create the storylines, they're all going to go. And then just when you kind of need, for the community at least, and for the scene, a personality like Scrappy to come along, he duly arrives on the scene. And yeah, so I'll share a couple of clips here, one of which is of his thoughts on this Surge roster and saying that, well, actually, this team of Illy, Hook, Blast, and Prolid is better than their actual team. And then he goes on to talk to Karma and Scump. And sure, there's a bit of banter in here, but still, Scrappy's making his point known.
You don't know, like, man.
It is.
GG's.
Guys are playing the most brain dead way I've ever seen, dude.
I mean, just look how terrible the game is, bro. They just did the same thing every round. It works. Literally every single round. Like, they have one strat on each map. I'm not gonna lie. That team right there is probably better than their actual team.
Yeah. You're probably not lying. And I got them triple sided on.
Out, super out.
He's still inside right, over here.
Deep left. Yep, that's why you retired.
Holy
Yeah, I retired you as well. Don't forget it.
Get on me.
oh shit.
Wait, we can talk to him.
On time dead.
So what do you guys think about his thoughts on the Seattle team, right? We haven't seen too much of their practice so far to see how they're getting on. On paper, it doesn't, you know, I've never been a massive fan, you guys know this, of that Seattle roster. Sure, there's some upside in that team, and I can see it working if it's a good AR meta, but as I've said before, they need aBeZy and Illy and Hook, especially to really be the best version of themselves. And aBeZy, they don't really have any get-out clauses. They need to, you know, they need to roll up with a 6 on the dice plenty of times in a row if that team is going to be winning anything this season. And in Search and Destroy, definitely can see the potential. In the respawns, it's going to be a matter of debate. Now, Scrappy also talking, though, to Scump. So this, I'm guessing, was in BPL yesterday. Austin's EasyMax done an awesome job putting that all together, and it was really popping off last night. So, yeah, Scrap kills Karma here, and then he kind of trash talks Karma and says, that's why you retired. Of course, Karma retired even before Scrappy's time. It's kind of similar, really, to the fact that Sib the other day, of course, now on the Subliners, he was calling out Sloss, right? Killer Sloss, one of the OGs, 2013 world champion. And it's like, you know, players that have retired and have, you know, not been around, of course, legendary players that have won so many world championships but haven't played competitive in some time. You know, usually maybe the younger generation will have a bit of respect for these guys and what they did for the scene. Not always the case, though, and if there's someone who's kind of willing to be a little bit disrespectful, Scrappy is definitely going to be that guy. But then his comments to Scump, and sure, Scump went on his team, I'm sure in part they were joking around, but he can't help himself, can he? Saying that, oh yeah, you know, you can calm down, Scump, I basically made you retire type thing, which surely Scrappy can't truly believe that, just because I mean, let's be honest. Scrap and Scump were in the league together for around about a couple of weeks before Scump decided to retire anyway, before the season really kicked off in January last year, and Scump just called it a day after all the OpTic drama. And sure, Scrappy has played in a season with Scump in which he retired. Doesn't necessarily mean that he caused that action. Of course, there's various other reasons why Scump called it a day. Wasn't really feeling it. All the OpTic drama. Dashy was benched. Wanted Dashy back on the team. Various reasons. I don't think Scrap was massively involved in that one. But look, the guy's got a big mouth and he can't stop talking. And of course, people are going to say, and this is what creates the great storylines here in this scene, about the future of Scrappy going forwards, right? Because let's be honest, people always joke about this, that all this trash talk, and then Scrappy turns up to the World Championship Grand Final, and basically the entire Grand Final could go into TikTok because, you know, he got absolutely slammed by Kismet and the New York Subliners 5-0 in. I don't know if that's ever going to be repeated for a Grand Final to be quite that dominant in the manner in which the New York Subliners won it last year. Sure, can Scrappy get into more Grand Finals over time at World Championships? Definitely got the talent and the ability to do so. But after all the trash talk, when it really came down to it, it was all bark, no bite, as it were, as we talked about at the time. Whether that will be the case going forward is, well, we'll see. But it's good that Scrappy, right, because I did wonder a little bit. To be honest, I never doubted this, but there was a little part of me that wondered, oh, well, maybe after Scrappy just talked all this trash to the Subliners team and said that, oh, well, they're only a one-man team and only HyDra's any good, and then they got slammed in the finals, whether Scrappy would be like, oh, okay, maybe I need to change my mindset here, maybe I won't trash talk quite so much, but obviously he hasn't changed one bit, has he? And is still very much pushing on, as you might expect, going into the new season. So is he right on the whole Scump retirement thing? No, let's be honest. Is he right on that potential Surge team, at least in Search and Destroy, being better than their actual Surge team? Maybe so, but look, Scrappy's going to have to back up a lot of trash talk this season, and on paper, Toronto should be very good. Whether they can deliver on that is going to be another question entirely, but very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
You're ass, but you're so rich, so who cares? Yo, y'all motherfuckers are literally ruthless. Guys, I won 8 major championships on Call of Duty, bro. So maybe I care a little bit about all your shit talk because you guys just don't know what the you're talking about. I'm getting slammed right now. Absolutely. I don't deny that. But let's see you guys go win a major championship against Primetime, Aches, Crim6, Karma, and TP. Go try to do that, and then come talk to me about being ass at Call of Duty. All right? Idiots. I'm getting bullied. I'm 31 years old, and it's getting to me. But go try to beat that team in Primetime like I did. So watch your mouth. Thank you. All right, boys, let's go.